Right as I was about to go live, my whole house just blew up with little girls. So, my wife and daughter are going to walk through here in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and get started because, man, it don't take no talent as a creator, no talent, zero talent as a creator to just be on time. And I was going to be here like 10 minutes ago, but I like I said, I was gonna start, and then as soon as I was gonna start, my whole house blew up with little girls, so I couldn't really start. As the door was going off, kids were running through. Just the just picks the busy day, but either way, we're started now, and life is good. If you're just joining on these Mindy Lee cases, we've been listening to a bunch of recordings that have never been released. I've released a bunch of the recordings that I got from Mindy's mother. She recorded them over 9 years ago. She recorded conversations with the cops. She recorded conversations with um, attorneys, lawyers, bounty hunters. She recorded conversations with the medical examiners and the coroner's office and psychics. We had a psychic on that did a reading for Mindy's mother 9 years ago. We had a recording, but then we through Mindy's mother, we got in contact with psychic Lisa, who we will probably have on the show again. It was fun. She's been willing to come on and she's actually told me she will come on and do readings if there are people who have lost ones or whatever, but I don't know if I'm going to open my channel up for all that, but she said she would come back on. So we might do another one with psychic Lisa. We have reached out to the police officers who found Mindy, and we haven't heard back, which we didn't expect to hear back from. But we will talk to some police about this case this year. We are just strategically going to wait on when the timing is right to do that. What else have we done? We're going to have, hopefully this week, I'll have someone on from a body farm out in Tennessee. Been talking to these professionals and just trying to work out schedules to come on and do like a really good podcast for you guys with somebody from a body farm, which will be interesting because of the way Mindy Lee's body was found, because of where it was found, because of the things that they claim to be true. It would be cool to talk to some experts on that. What you're joining now, and if you're just joining and you've never heard of Mindy Lee's case, then you need to go watch the 8 other episodes that I've released about Mindy Lee's case, A Mother Through. Now, this is somebody that knows Mindy Lee, is a friend of Mindy Lee, and I'm going to mute for a second. No sound. Now we do. We have Christina on the phone. and just as you're joining on right now, I'm just gonna go through, and I haven't talked to Christina, haven't asked her any questions. Just gonna have a conversation with her, and you guys are gonna watch along. And I'm doing this because I really want to know more about Mindy as a person. And Christina reached out to us and has agreed to come on and talk to us. So, Christina, just tell me how long did you know Mindy, and what's kind of your first thought of Mindy? Not her your last thoughts, but your first thoughts when you first met her and how you came to meet Mindy.
Great. So I've known Mindy for many years. I went to school with her oldest daughter, and so I've known her for a very long time. The first time I met her, she she was just Mindy. She was so happy and so lively and full of energy, and just one of the happiest people I've ever met, really.
And what was kind of your relationship? Did you get to spend time with her a lot, or were y'all close? Kind of tell me about that.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time with her oldest daughter. We went to school together and we hung out a lot. But then I would say there was about a year or two when I really just strictly hung out with Mindy. We spent a lot of time together. I was going through, a really rough time in my life, and she was always there for me. She was a really close friend, and I don't want to say that she was just a friend. She was family to me. She was my mother, my sister, my best friend. Anything and everything that I needed, she was there.
When you saw Mindy around her kids and stuff, what kind of mom was she? And
she was so lively and interactive. I mean, so loving. I mean, she had a heart of gold, and I believe, just about everything she did, she had her kids in mind when she did it. She was very close with both of her children. She was very protective over them and would just do anything for them.
Yeah. What did Mindy like? What was she like? What she liked to do, or at least what you know of her? If you were you're same age as her oldest daughter, right? Is what you're saying? And so I don't even know. I'm not even sure how old she is or how old that is, but what was the age difference between you and Mindy? Just wondering.
So me and Mindy were quite a few years apart. I think I was about 13 or 14 when I knew her, and then she was 33 at the time, 32 to 33. So
Gotcha.
there was, quite an age gap there. But when we hung out, it was more of, I'm going to put it out there, I didn't have much of a family per se at the time,
I gotcha.
So when we hung out together, she was a lot more like a mom figure that saw, someone that needed a mom in their life, or, some sort of guidance in that way.
No, I understand. So that makes sense. And so yeah, so what's kind of a fun thing? What's a fun memory you have of hanging out with Mindy, and just any, I mean, what comes to your mind?
So, obviously every moment I spent with her was great. She always made everything a good time. But whenever I hung out with her, mostly we would go on long drives during the night and listen to music and pretty much just get away from things, you know. And I know she was going through some problems and stuff, so we both kind of just got away from things and would go look at the mountains and, you know, watch the sunrise together. That was actually that was an interesting night because she had never seen the sunrise before. So, you know, I told her, well, shoot, let's do an all-nighter. You know, I was probably 14, so I could do that. And she's like, okay. But she did it, and we watched the sunrise together, and it was just, you know, it was really fun and really quite the experience.
Where'd you guys watch the sunrise from? Do you remember?
Oh, honestly, I don't. I know
worries.
that she took us out. I know to one of her friends' property. They had, I guess, a couple of acres of flat land that you could perfectly view the mountains from.
Gotcha.
But honestly, I can't remember where that was.
It was just somebody's property.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in this area? Did you grow up like Manitou and Colorado Springs or Woodland Park or?
Yeah, so I spent my early childhood kind of roaming the Springs, and then from 8 to about 17, I lived in Manitou, so that was pretty much my life.
That's a crazy little town. Explain to people like what kind of town is Manitou?
Oh my gosh, how do you even explain that? It's hippie Mayberry. That's what Manitou is. It's
like a hippie Mayberry, just a small town, but it's just a bunch of hippies.
Yep, exactly.
And so you hung out with Mindy down in Manitou and around there?
Yeah, we were. Me and my mom had moved into the same apartment complex as her a few years later. So we were actually neighbors. So during that time, it was really easy for me to go see her because I could just go right across and go to her apartment. And unfortunately, me and my mom were actually the ones that went and picked up her oldest daughter when, her mom, Miss Vicky, got the call.
Oh, when all of this went down, you guys went and picked up her oldest.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So so you were around during this whole time that all this went down.
Yes. So it was I tried not to think too much about this night, but honestly, the night that she had gone missing, her oldest daughter had come over to my house that night and asked, hey, do you want to come spend the night with me and my mom? And I was like, no, just something kept telling me not to go. And I mean, I would jump on the opportunity to go hang out with Mindy, and something just told me not to.
That's crazy. So,
but I mean, yeah, and I try not to think about that too much, because I also think, well, what if I had? But, those are
no, I understand.
Questions, those are...
It's been 9 years, but I'm sure there's not much time that goes by that you don't at least think about Mindy.
Oh, absolutely not. Like every single day, she definitely crosses my mind. She was my ground angel. I can honestly say I would not be here today if it was not for her.
So she was just a real caring person and she just looked out for you, huh?
Oh, yes. Like, she saw someone in need and she threw her heart at them, and she would give them love and comfort as much as she could. I mean, if she could, she would give them the shirt off of her back. That's the type of person that she was.
Did you, we don't have to talk about it, but did you know the people she was with?
had met them a few times. She hung out with them relatively often, so we had met before.
Had you?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't need to ask you any questions about that unless there's something you want to tell me. But I really I love hearing the stories about Mindy. Were you around when she had her youngest kid? So
Yes.
so were you
Yep.
there when she was born and stuff?
So not when she was born.
Okay.
I think she was really young when I knew her. Probably, definitely not in the double digits.
Oh yeah, I
But,
think she was only. I think at the time when Mindy went missing, she was only 4. So
yeah, she was only 4. So she was only 2 or 3 when I knew her. I think
Okay.
she was 3 when I met her. Yeah.
Okay. So how was Mindy's relationship with her?
Oh my gosh, they always stayed together. I mean, Mindy never left her side. She was always very, very protective of her, and whenever we went somewhere, she always made sure that she was taken care of and all of her needs were met, and she played with her all the time. I mean, she loved her so much. And yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, from even what you messaged me today and what you kind of told us now is that like Mindy was just a really caring, loving person with her children and stuff. And so when we hear the story that like what the narrative is, it just doesn't even sound like that's what Mindy wouldn't leave her daughter, or Mindy wouldn't.
Oh my God, no. No, so I mean, obviously not a single detail of this case is even correct or makes any sense, but the biggest thing that stood out to us, like especially in the beginning, when we didn't even have 2/3 of this information, even in the very beginning, that is what stood out to us. She left her youngest daughter with these people, and especially, I don't know them very well, but these people were not the type of people that she would ever leave her daughter with.
Yeah. That part of it doesn't make sense to me, especially when I hear stories about how good of a mom she was and how much she loved her kids, and that even if it was some sort of kind of story that they told involving her, but it just doesn't even seem like that's in her character to run off and leave her kids, especially in that kind of
really
situation.
Isn't. Yeah. Exactly, and yeah, that really doesn't make any sense at all. The Mindy that I knew would never leave her daughter anywhere with anybody.
Have you? I know you've talked to Mindy's mother, but have kind of over this last 9 years, and other than thinking about Mindy, did you ever see anything, or what was your kind of questions? I know you probably paid attention to Vicky and stuff, but I just wondered if you had questions about what happened, and like if someone was listening that could do something or change something, like what would your questions be for those people?
Oh gosh, I mean,
what do you think? How do you think of? I don't want to get into the law enforcement issue, but like just the fact that there was not questions answered, I just can't imagine, even if one of my friends,
honestly, there's so many questions about everything just because nothing makes sense, like not a single detail that has been given by whoever, officials of some sort. Not a single one of it makes any sense, or none of it adds up, none of it connects, or, I mean, there are so many questions about everything.
No, I
And
understand. No. So
yeah,
yeah. Has it ever been, have you ran into anyone or over the last 9 years just being in the small town of Manitou where Mindy's name comes up?
no, actually, it hasn't.
Yeah, I just wondered.
No,
I
it
didn't know.
hasn't. Like, I have, and I did spend a few years out of state, but even then, I mean, honestly, like, anytime I bring her up, it's kind of like no one knows about it. Or I have had, I had an interaction with one guy, and I can't remember where we were, but somehow the topic of Mindy came up and Woodland Park. I think it was around the time of another case that had been going on. And so we were talking about all this stuff, and he just got really quiet as soon as it all got brought up. And honestly, I've had probably one or two interactions where Woodland Park comes up and everything is dropped, and they no longer want to be a part of the conversation.
You're going to tell me that person's name, or are y'all friends?
So I
just wonder.
I know. I don't even have their name. I wish I did, but honestly, to me, like, it just seems like there is so much going on over there, and it kind of seems like a lot of people don't want to be involved because of the situation.
Yeah, I wonder. Are you just thinking? Are you talking about like Mindy's situation, or are you talking about just the situation with Woodland Park and stuff, or both?
Well, both. There's a lot of things going around, about Woodland Park and their law enforcement and how they handle things, and it kind of just seems like the real, the locals that have lived here for, 20, 30 years, they hear Woodland Park and suddenly they don't want to talk about it. That kind of bothers me.
No, I can understand that. Have you ever had any interaction with law enforcement up here? Like since you've been alive?
Thankfully.
You're like, no, thank God.
Yeah, no, thank God.
How are the Manitou cops? How are the Manitou cops? Are they nice guys?
Well, so they're all right. They like to, fill their little ticket count or whatever. But other than that, so my mom was kind of, friends with a lot of the cops and stuff like that because of a few situations. So whenever, I got in trouble, I think I got in trouble at school for smoking on school property, and luckily, I guess my mom knew the cops, so he just waved me by, was like, put it out, get off school property, go home. Like, oh, okay.
No,
but they're pretty nice, I guess, some of them.
This might be a hard question for you. Did you ever do drugs with Mindy?
I did not.
You did not. Did you ever? Did you think Mindy ever did drugs?
So no, I didn't. I guess that has been one thing that's kind of been weighing on me. The autopsy report and the results of that. But knowing Mindy, I would have never guessed. And I don't think that she was a user. I really, really don't. I know that she had some previous problems in the past years with maybe prescriptions. Like, I think there was a painkiller. But other than that, no. And I don't see her ever using it. And so things would come up, like topics would come up about certain substances or something, like when her and my mom were talking, and she got, she looked really down on it. She was one of those people that just was very negative about it. Obviously she didn't believe in any of that. And another thing, her phobia of needles was kind of another thing. And I mean, I know that there's other ways to do things, but I don't know. It's just, I never saw her as a user, ever. And
Yeah.
I mean, if she was, she hid it damn well. Like, because, I mean, I'll be honest, that type of thing has ran in my family. I've known quite a few close people that have made some pretty bad decisions. But that's the thing, is when you make those decisions, it shows in a lot of ways,
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't hide it for any length of time, for sure.
Exactly. Like, if someone knows you well enough and they spend enough time with you, they're going to catch on.
Yeah. What did when this thing went down, and like, do you remember, like, I know you were only 14 or whatever, or I don't know how old I think you were around 14 or 15 when she went missing. Do you remember those days before they found her? Like, do you remember your thoughts or your emotions during that time?
I did. Yeah. So I think, I don't, yeah, that one's kind of a hard question.
I got you. No. We can, I got more questions. I got easier ones.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my feeling when she went missing, so the first day that she went missing, I was like, okay, maybe this is, maybe she spent the night at a friend's house and didn't contact anybody. Maybe, but the phone calls that she made kind of made that hard,
Yeah, because you knew about this. You knew about this phone call with her mother.
Yes, her mother and her oldest daughter. She had made 2 phone calls, and yeah, that just, so I tried, obviously, to stay positive and to think the best, that, she was just off on an excursion maybe and lost her phone, just anything but the worst, I think it was about 2 or 3 days later. I think it was about a day. Oh my gosh, my memory. I think it was a day or maybe 2 days before Vicky got the call, that I kind of just knew. Like, I just had this overwhelming feeling come across me that we weren't searching for her anymore,
Did you come up and search at all?
So I was part of the search party that was going to happen on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't do any prior searching to that,
Yeah.
I wasn't too involved with her family at the time, so I didn't go with them when they went.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
When I want to walk away from that time period, but when you saw Mindy interact with her older daughter, I asked you about how she interacted with her younger daughter. How about her older daughter?
Uh-huh.
What was their relationship like?
I mean, honestly, it was the same thing. I mean, Mindy gave her the same amount of love and caring. I mean, they bickered a little bit. I mean, it was a 14-year-old and her mom,
Yeah.
So they would bicker a little bit, which, I would always have to try to cover my smile. And but it was the exact same. I mean, she just put so much thought into everything, and like birthdays and holidays and everything. There was so much thought that she put into her children, and she definitely put, they were her priorities, her main and only priorities. She put them above all else, and they were the most important things to her.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, like she was an amazing mother and cared so much for her kids.
That's awesome. It's awesome to really hear that, for real. Like, so for me, obviously I actually lived in Woodland Park when Mindy was found, and when all this kind of went down, I lived here. But I didn't know Mindy. And even during that time, it wasn't like I was paying much attention to anything. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on with the situation. But it's really awesome because over just the last couple, maybe the last year, I've learned a lot more about Mindy's story. And then also just the last few weeks, been able to listen to her mom's stuff and the recordings, and then obviously looking into the case. But to just hear someone who knew Mindy while she walked and breathed and, spent time with her, it's fun for me because it's cool. It's because it does give me a sense of, hey, this is worth continuing to look into. This is who this person was, and kind of the story that's sold to us, or the story they've said is like, she was hanging out with bad people. She may have been into bad stuff herself, and so to hear a different side of that.
And that's why I reached out to you in the first place, was because, I've noticed that this story, I understand that, not everybody knew her. Not everybody has all of the information or all of the details. And I understand that. But one thing that I really, really want is for everyone to understand how amazing she really was. And, she wasn't just this, bad person that hung out with bad people and made bad decisions. She really, really wasn't. She thought about everything that she did. She was, careful about the people that she chose to have in her life. And unfortunately, some of them weren't that great, but that doesn't make her a bad person,
No, absolutely. No, and that's why it's beautiful that you've been able to, just give a glimpse into that. I know that it's been 10 years or 9 years, and I know that, it's not something that you do often, but I know for people that are listening, it makes a difference to hear just a little bit about Mindy, even just through your 14-year-old memory. That's what's crazy, is that you're remembering her from, a 14-year-old's perspective, how she was a mother, like a mother to you even. And so that's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful thing that you knew Mindy. Like, that's an awesome, that that even she was taken way too early, that you were a part of her life here, and that, you're someone who gets to tell her story and talk about it. So, hey, thanks for talking with me.
Yes, absolutely.
I know that this isn't always the easiest thing, to bring up these places in our hearts and our minds, but thank you for reaching out, for sure. Is there anything else you want to say? I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I just, I really hope that all of this, and all of the podcasts that you've been doing and all the videos that you've been posting are, just amazing. And, there's even some new information in there that I didn't know. And, I've been pretty close to the family, and it's incredible. But I really hope that, everyone just comes forth and we really start, opening, like creating a bigger audience, kind of what you said in your first post, just make enough noise that someone hears it. I mean, geez, it's been almost 10 years.
Yep.
And all we want is answers. That's it. We just want a peace of mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And,
yes. Thank you.
Well, this is just whatever, a small, we're trying to touch something, but you're absolutely right. Somebody knows something for sure. There's not a doubt in my mind that there isn't someone out there that has answers to a lot of questions that you and Vicky and the world have about what happened to Mindy. I am 100% sure about that. And so the more people who can, the more people like you, even just taking just a few moments to share a little bit about Mindy, it may wake up something. It may wake up something. So
yes, and even if people keep coming forward, and even if they do what I did and just share what a great person she is, but by them sharing certain memories or something, who knows what it could kick off. There are just certain things. So, I kind of did this and hoping that more people would come forth, and just talk about her and then see what we can find in between the lines,
Yeah, it's absolutely. Sometimes that balance between, being dealing with people's own, they're dealing with their own emotions, and their own stuff, just like you are. And so, no, it takes a little bit of courage, and but again, like, we only live life once, and if you take just a little bit of your courage and you do something for someone else, or you do something for something greater than yourself, even if it happens to be just this little bitty thing where, hey, let me share a little bit more about Mindy, or let me share a story from that night of what I remember, or whatever. And so, no, it is a call out to people who know something, because somebody knows something. We know that. We know that there's a lot more questions that should be answered that haven't been answered, and so, yeah, that's my hope, is that we wake someone up that will come forward with some insight into the story, insight into what happened to Mindy, just to bring closure with the family and friends, and even closure with Mindy's kids. And so it's
especially, I couldn't even imagine, both of them were so young. And honestly, for Vicky, that is a parent's worst nightmare, Yeah. Your child is supposed to bear you, not the other way around. And I can't even imagine how it's been for her and how she keeps going. And, she's so devoted to her daughter and finding these answers. And it's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely incredible. Vicky is definitely a mother's warrior. Like a mother warrior is the only way I can picture hers. If she, yeah, absolutely. So, well, thank you for this evening. Thank you for your phone call.
Yes, of course. Thank you for letting me share.
No problem. And if you know how to reach out to me if you need to get a hold of me. So, or if you have anything else or anything, if you just want to, hey, I remember something, you can send me a text or shoot me a message.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to you later. You have a good evening.
All right. You too.
All right,
Thank you.
It's hard talking with friends and family. Today was a day where a lot of friends reached out to me. Not only Mindy's friends, but actually, I had one of Heidi Brazard's best friends reach out to me about something, and we had a great conversation back and forth on Messenger. One of Heidi's really close friends, and so yeah, today's been a day where friends of victims have reached out to Dad with the phone. It's been pretty heavy, both talking with her, messaging back and forth with her, and then when I started messaging back and forth with Heidi's friends, it's an intense day. It's a very intense day. There is a possibility. Let me see. There is a possibility that there's another friend of Mindy's that may come forward and talk. I am I don't try to reach out to the families at all. I don't try to reach out to friends at all. This situation's a little different because the family reached out to me. Vicky reached out to me. Even this young lady here, she reached out to me. I didn't get a hold of her. She reached out to me, and so the same thing with when I was being asked. Some questions were being asked of me about the Heidi Brazard case, and it was being asked to me by someone on Facebook. But when I looked into this, someone on Facebook, they obviously were very, very close with Heidi, and so when they reached out to me, I told them, I was like, I don't try to reach out to the family or the friends, but since you reached out to me, would you talk to me and stuff like that? And so we had this conversation back and forth, but there is a line of respect that especially with cases that are so close, like the Heidi's case, it's such a close thing, right? With Mindy's case, it's almost the entire opposite, except I have to still stay respectful to the families, right? Like it's been 10 years and all I want to do is make as much noise as possible. Like there are some things that I could do that would bring eyeballs to this thing immediately, but out of respect to the family, I am holding back information. I'm holding back recordings. I'm holding back pictures. I'm holding back video footage because I'm trying to walk this thin line of respect for the family, but also trying to bring as much noise as possible. And so, probably over the next couple of weeks, I'll probably meet back up with Vicky. I'm going to try to meet back up with some other people because there will become a point where it's like, I want to slap another bottle of gasoline on the fire, right? So you get a fire burning, but then it all starts to burn down and you're like, we didn't get nobody's attention. I just want to throw like a bomb of gasoline on it and go, oh, you're not paying attention yet? Well, look at this. And so I have that information that I'm holding out of respect for the family. At the same time, I'm still trying to make enough noise that we can wake somebody up. And so it's crazy. It's like this stupid thin line that we're trying to walk to be very respectful and everything to the other side of I just want to drop some bombshells on the fire and blow it up, just to bring attention and awareness and then be like, we'll pick up the pieces when we're done. But at least we got pieces and questions being answered, and so this Mindy Lee case is crazy because now everywhere I drive, I see something that was related to Kelsey Barrett. I see something that was related to Mindy Lee. And I'm looking and questioning and asking questions of city people, of police officers, of people that were in town during this time frame, who was in charge, who was the mayor, who was the city, trying to go back in records to find out who were the people in this town that just turned their back on this thing and let it slip through the cracks. How do we fix that from happening? How do we fix somebody else vanishing and it slowly being swept? Slowly, a little murder being covered up, a mysterious death being covered up. How do we fix that in this small little town? Trust me, I'm working on that as well. And so it's crazy. This is crazy because, again, I'm not an internet sleuth digging around a case in BFE, Idaho, right? That's the difference. I'm a real dad with a phone who lives down the street from where Mindy was found. And so the difference between me and the rest of your true crime internet sleuthers out there, they can keyboard warrior to death these little mysterious cases that happen all over the country. But when you're talking about looking into a case that happened down the street from you, you don't want to wake up the wrong villain, right? You don't want to wake up the wrong... I do want to wake up the wrong villain because let them villains come for me. I like that a little bit, but you got to be careful. I don't walk on eggshells very well. So walking on eggshells isn't really easy for me. And so, but we're waking folks up. I can tell you that much. A year ago, city council people weren't asking me about cold cases in Woodland Park. Today, I can't say that. So we're waking some folks up. And whether it's been an incompetence or a corruptness or a willingness just to sweep things under the rug to try to keep this quote unquote little mountain town looking pretty, but yet there was maybe some very dark, sinister things happening to trying to sweep that under and keep that quiet. And dad with a phone is stoking it with fire. He's like throwing gasoline on it. And so it's crazy. Hey, if you like what you're watching, you want to watch more, find me on all these social medias at the bottom of your page right here. You see all these links right here? Go like all those links. Go watch all those links. If you like what you've watched and you want to throw money in the hat, I'm putting my hat out right here in front of the camera. This is my hat. And if you want to put into this hat some change, you can do that at that PayPal address on the bottom of your screen. And you don't have to have a PayPal account. You can type in that address. It's not very long. Take a screenshot of it, type it in, and you can throw some money in the hat if you like what you're watching. My name's Michael. They call me Dad with a Phone. Y'all been watching the Mindy Lee story, a journey, a mother's journey for answers. And that's really what this has been. You've heard people who know Mindy. You've heard friends of Mindy's. You've heard people who hung out with Mindy. You heard them talk about Vicky. This is a mother's journey for 9 years trying to find answers. And you're become a part of that. You are now a part of a mother's journey to find answers to what happened to her daughter. And so to help, if you can't give and you don't want to follow, then share. Share this story. Share this interview. If you're a freaking content creator, chop this stuff up and make some noise with me. I dare you. What's going to happen when we break this case open and you didn't say nothing about it? Right? What's going to happen to you as a content creator when this case gets broke open and you forgot to put your little story in on it? Right? Somebody from Georgia's calling me. I'm weary about answering this. I might have to hang up on somebody. Yeah, you're live.
Hey, Dad with the Phone. It's Erin Leahy.
Uh-oh. Erin's got some info. She only calls when she has info.
I don't have any info. Oh, see, there's Jack. Do you hear Jack?
Yeah, this is Jack's mom for. Oh, well, you've just been doxxed now.
I know. Jack doxed us.
You just doxed yourself because you
Jack
were like,
did it.
you were telling me not to dox you one time, and you just literally doxed yourself.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
First of all, I wanted to say hi to Vicky because I know she's watching. I have a question. Have you heard anything from Sean Goings yet?
I haven't, but let me. I haven't checked my email today, so let me check my email while I have you here. But I haven't. Now I emailed him. I emailed him directly to his school, the only email address I could find, and I do have. Somebody did give me some phone numbers, and I tried those phone numbers, and I haven't seen. Nope, he hasn't. He hasn't emailed me back.
Okay.
Nothing. So
we don't have a phone number for him or anything at this point.
I don't have a good phone number. Yeah, the phone numbers that somebody gave me were like old landlines, but I haven't really dug too deep, right? Like I haven't even gone after my sources yet. Like I could probably call 3 people in town and get his cell number pretty quickly. And so, I mean, he's still in town. I actually know where he lives. Like I drove by his house the other day and I didn't do it on like purpose. The only reason I know that is because somebody like told me where, like one of the city workers told me where he lived. And then I just happened to be driving by there and I was like, oh, that's Sean Goings' house. And so like, I know where the guy lives. So I haven't sought him out yet. So when the timing is everything, right? And so
Exactly.
like this has been 9 years, and if I have to wait just a few more months, and then I can go to the people and the powers that be and say I'd like to get a meeting with Sean Goings, and they won't be able to refuse me if things go right. So like timing is everything. And so especially when we're talking about a guy who, basically if this thing were to reopen, it's not going to be like good for him, even if it's for justice, even if he's not even a part of it, or not even at fault or anything. If it was just simple incompetence, he's not going to necessarily want to talk to me voluntarily. But there may come an opportunity where he might not have an opportunity to say no, and so that's kind of where I'm hedging my bets if he doesn't come out of the woodwork first.
Right.
He's listening. He's listening right now. There's no doubt in my mind that this entire case, every video, I can tell you without a doubt, Woodland Park PD is watching every video I do. I promise you. And so they watch everything. And so they're all watching this. They're all listening to this. They're all seeing these. Some of these cops are probably seeing these case files and these case photos for the first time going, oh my God, what the hell are we going to have to explain, And so, no, remember, I'm not across the world. And that's kind of why, like, if I push too many buttons too quickly, I don't want to end up in jail,
Exactly.
Sometimes it would be easier to push buttons if I lived in another state, another country. Oh yeah, let me just call up Woodland Park right now and see what the hell's going down, right? But I live down the street. I watch them drive by my house 10 times a day. So it'll be all right though. It'll work out. Right. So what else you got?
Well, I have been talking with Vicky too. So I don't want to say too much because I know that there's a lot more and a lot more coming out. So, I appreciate all.
What you want to try to, if you want to try to scoop something on me, this is your time. Scoop something on me.
No, I'm working with you and with Vicky so that I can try and get, the word out to some other people and get, reach out to some more national help. See if I have yet to meet a person when I tell them this story that is not like, what are you talking about?
No,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's what this is all about is we need to like Mindy Lee's name needs to be recognizable in one it needs to be recognizable in the true crime community, which means you 139 people that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, you need to go share these videos because if all of you share these videos to your favorite groups or your favorite pages and all that stuff, all of a sudden Mindy's name will become recognizable. When things become recognizable, people want to talk about it, and so we got to get other people talking about it for sure.
Right.
So.
And Sherilyn Tracy is asking if we don't say anything, then how are we supposed to know? For me personally, and I think that Dad with the phone feels the same way. You know, there were children involved and things that happened that I don't think need to be, you know, released to the public. You know, there are some things that. You know,
yeah, I was talking about that fine line of walking a respectful line, but like it's not like you can't go find information. Like go Google Mindy Lee and you can watch and see a bunch of news reports that happened. Then come back over and start listening to every episode that I've released, and you can see crime scene photos. You can see where she was found, when she was found, how she was found. And if you don't think listening to the cops and the coroner and the path, you're going to hear plenty. You're going to hear more than you've ever heard in any case, you know? And so, like, for me, it's about getting that information out there. And we're not going to solve. First of all, this case isn't going to be solved with a piece of evidence. It's not going to be solved with a police report. I got all the police reports. I got Going's police report. I got more police reports. I got those officers on recording saying one thing and in a police report saying something else. And so, like, we could sit here and tear apart the evidence. That's not going to do anything. What we got to do is we got to wake someone up. Someone's got to come forward. Someone has to come forward and talk that knows something, because that's the only way. Somebody has to be able to connect the dots, right? They have to go, okay, Michael, Vicky, whoever you want to talk to. If you want to talk to somebody famous, I'll get somebody famous for you to talk to. If you don't want to talk to me, but if you come out and share that story, you can stay anonymous. I'll vet you. I'll make sure you're legit. You don't have to tell us your names. But if somebody will come out and wants to connect those dots, we might shut up, right? Maybe you can connect the dots and be like, oh, here, let me connect the dots for you. And then you guys can go on about your business. And that's about it, right? Maybe that's what happens. Right now, there's a lot of dots that need connecting, though. So
do you think, do you have enough of a relationship with Dan May at this point that he might be willing to listen to you?
Dan May, no, but that's okay. Because, again, if you want, okay, listen, guys, I'll tell you straight up. I'm running for city council in Woodland Park. There's a possibility I get elected to a city council seat in Woodland Park. I'm not doing it to find out what happened in Mindy Lee's case, but damn sure if I get elected to city council and I call up the district attorney and say I'm a council member asking questions, I might get some answers. And so that's just one portion, right? That's just one little extra little icing on the cake that I found out that they can't just tell me no. Like the cops can't tell a city council member, no, I'm not going to talk to you. Right. And so like for me, that's April. That's April. Like it's around the corner. And so like I'm focusing on some things. One, the city needs to change. That's why I'm doing it. But then I look at this side of things and go, oh yeah, let's see if Sean Goings can tell a council member, no, I don't want to talk to you, right? And so, or let's see if Dan May or whoever, because here's the deal. Dan May's out, bro. Gave that dude, Patrick, 156 years, life in prison, said, I'm out, kids. It's election year. So there's a new DA in town. And so there's a new DA coming into town. And yes, maybe I'll be putting into a position that when I call that DA's office and say, hey, I want you to look into a cold case. What do you think about making a name for yourself the first year in your office, right? Because that's something all of a sudden, hey, this new DA came to town. Not only is he doing the day-to-day things, but he's taking a look back at a cold case. And if we bust open Mindy Lee's case with a new DA, right? all of a sudden
That's
he may
very
have political
promising.
reasons. We might have to do some puppetry. He might be watching right now and he's okay with it though. He's like, damn, that's a good puppet move. Right. And so, yeah, there's so much going on and all the cops are watching and I'm telling them my whole damn plan and I don't even care because there's nothing they can do about it. And so we're gonna that's the best part about when you're trying to speak truth and you're trying to bring truth out. You can scream it from the mountaintops and somehow the truth will leak its way through, and so yeah, I just gave up too much. I'm probably have to delete this video now. I'm just kidding.
They're watching right now anyway.
They are. They are. They definitely are. They definitely
I am encouraged to hear that about the DA because I'm very, very disappointed in how the DA's office treated Vicky. And, because the typical avenues one would take that people would say, okay, go talk to these people, go talk to that. All of them have just been horrible to her. And it's unacceptable.
Bobby says this isn't a cold case, it's a closed case. And that's very true. It's a closed case. So we need someone to reopen it. But we first need some new information. We need to connect some dots they didn't have, right? And so if we were able to take some new information because someone came forward, and that's when you approach the DA. That's when you go straight to the DA and say, look, here's what we know, and here's what someone's come forward to. This ain't no sworn affidavit. This ain't no disposition. It came forward on a podcast, and this is what they said, right? And then the DA has to make a real crazy decision. Do I sit back knowing that there's information, or do I do something about this? And so, the only way this thing gets reopened, even with the DA, is we got to have a bombshell, right? We need someone to drop a nuclear bomb on the story that they told, and that person needs to be a credible source, right? They got to be somebody that we can trace back to that night. We can trace back to that place, what happened to that department, and so there's a lot of he said, she said, and there's a lot of theories and there's a lot of questions, but we don't got any phone, we don't have anything to connect the dots. If we had stuff to connect the dots, we don't have Mindy's phone. We don't have phone pings. We don't have that information. And so it's a crazy, I don't know, maybe it's just crazy. Maybe we're just all crazy. So
I don't think that's the case because I have yet to meet a person that has heard any piece of this that hasn't said, do what now? I mean, even if she was using drugs with Kim and Shannon, well, how come they weren't using drugs? I mean, they seemed to be perfectly fine to talk to the police officers when they met at the Lip and Jug.
Yeah, there's a lot. The whole story, of how they handled everything that night, the fact that they didn't, but we know this because of the way policies are written, where, hey, if a grown adult goes missing, it's not like they jump to, but there was extenuating circumstances. A grown adult went missing and left her child. And so like there are, so it was more than just a missing case. It was more than just, this girl walked off of her own free will. At best, I mean, she walked off in what was explained as a crazy state, right? She ran away. Well, what'd she run away for? We don't know. All of a sudden, she's got some drugs in her system. She's got drugs shoved up in her, this, that, and the other. But wait a minute, this makes zero sense with this woman. That's what her family and her friends are saying. And so, the fact that, I don't know. I get frustrated. I mean, there's definitely, I could sit here and say, it's foul play with the police officers. It's incompetence. It's corruptness. But the truth is, man, who knows who was pulling the strings, right? Who knows who wanted this case slowly swept under the rug, They didn't see They didn't see Mindy Lee. They didn't see Vicky White coming with the recorder. They sure didn't play that into their equation. And so 9 years later, when these tapes are being released, and they're like, "Oh my God, we sound like bumbling idiots." You know,
Right.
hopefully, you know, somebody wakes up.
I mean, I get alerts on my phone when, you know, a person who has dementia has walked off from a house, or, you know, things like that. Why on earth would there not be some type of notification of a person in 18-degree weather that's barefoot for people to go out on the look?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They had the reverse 911 system. Like they had it. It was in play. They had other things in play. And there was only news about this because Mindy's mom went out and pressed the issue, right? And so the only reason we have any articles or any news about it is because Mindy's mom went out and pressed the issue, but it was almost you know, too late or whatever. You know, the chances are probably that like, I mean, the real thing is Mindy was probably deceased pretty early, you know, in that 5 days, if not that night, you know, and so like they were covering up a crime that then they had to, you know, they had to get rid of a body, and they couldn't get rid of a body, so they decided that they were covering up something, you know. And so for whatever reason, however reason, Mindy got to where she was found, there's just a lot of dots in between that should have some answers. They should have got answers 10 years ago, 9 years ago, and whether or not we'll ever get answers to today, the only thing we can do is scream, right? We can just scream for the questions. We just scream the questions out there, you know, and hope that somebody wakes up. So what else you got, Aaron? What else you got?
That's pretty much it. Just thank you for continuing to release stuff, and I'm glad that we got to hear from Christina. I know she was with Mindy's daughter the night that she went missing, and was also with Vicky when she found out that, you know, they had found her body. So I know she's somebody that's important to Vicky.
Yeah, no, she reached out to me today or yesterday, and then but it's really interesting to hear the perspective, because, you know, she's what, 23 now or something, and to hear that perspective of a 14-year-old, to hear her tell, you know, those stories, or even to remember those, to have those memories as a 14-year-old, 13-year-old, you know. And I've been talking a little bit, messaging back and forth with Vicky, or with Mindy's older daughter, and just to hear and read her messages about her mom from that age, is crazy. And then have to watch, you know, and she saw some things for the very first time, like when we released some of the pictures, you know, and like she sent me some messages, and I mean, like for a daughter to see these things first time from a blogger, it scares the hell out of me. Like when I think about that, and the same thing, like today, I got messages from people who were super close to Heidi Brizard, and that's a case that's still open, you know, and so that one's even closer, and, you know, messaging back and forth with people who are best friends with Heidi Brizard, and, you know, them asking me questions. Man, they're like, how did you know this, or where did you get this information, and me trying to figure out who they were. And then when I realized who they were, I'm like, I'll do anything, share anything, tell you who to talk to. And so, you know, it's tough. It's tough when you start touching the families of these victims. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah. I don't encourage people like Aaron to reach out to Vicky, but Vicky will talk to anybody about her daughter. That's the truth. And I love that about Vicky. So, but I don't encourage listeners to reach out to victims or to reach out to people. Now, if Vicky reaches out to you or you somehow contact Vicky, I guarantee you she will talk to you about her daughter, and I don't have any problem thinking that. But I also have told Vicky to be very careful and to
exactly,
you know, because the internet is
she talks to.
The internet's a crazy. I don't care who she talks to. Like Vicky's already talked to some people I would have told her not to talk to, you know, and so so for me, I can't tell a mom who to talk to about her daughter, but I have told her, hey, you got to be careful, you know, and Vicky, you got to be careful of Erin because she might love on you too much. So it's all right.
That's about all she'll get from me is too much love.
I know.
Rose asked if she missed Mindy's daughter on here. No, you have not.
No, you haven't.
And one thing I can say is Vicky is amazing because she's fighting for justice for Mindy, but she has also done one hell of a job with her grandchildren and when everybody gets to meet her daughter and see what she's doing, it's truly amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a special family. Most of the time it's the special ones that get taken too early, especially in circumstances beyond their control. And so, no, there's no doubt that there's a special call on Mindy's daughters. And definitely you could see it from mom, the determination of Vicky. Again, that's the only reason I'm talking about this. Absolutely. The only reason I'm even talking about this is because of Vicky. So I didn't come up with this plan. It's simply, Vicky didn't know all this was going to happen. I guarantee you when she pulled them disc out in front of me, there was no way she was handing those things over to me. And it wasn't until an hour and a half later, she'd already took them disc all the way away, you know. And I said, well, can I get them things? And she let go very, very hesitantly, but she definitely has shown trust, and I thank her for that. And like I said, there is, oh my gosh, there's so much on these tapes and in these pictures and in these videos that some of it will never make it out there unless it's like the last freaking resort. But I think if I talk to Vicky's mom, I'll be able to use some of the stuff that I haven't been able to share in public, that as soon as I get some of the right people on the hook, if I need a little, like this would be one of those DA things, right? Like if we get one of those guys to let us come in and sit down, I'd be like, let me play this one for you. Nobody's heard this and you need to listen to this one, you know? And so, you know, hopefully there's some leverage there with some stuff, but Vicky is in chat right now. She said, thank you. And thank you, Vicky. You're awesome. So
yes.
Anyway,
you're an inspiration, Vicky.
You are definitely. Your daughter's an inspiration. It was awesome to hear more about Mindy tonight, and we'll hear more. This ain't just the beginning. We're just waking people up. People are just starting to stir, so it's good. It's good stuff. So
yeah, well, it was good to chat with you, and we'll keep moving and try to get the word out.
Yep. All right. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yep. Have a good night.
I'm putting your number in my thing, so now I know I'll screen your call from now on.
Jack will give me away again.
Yep, I'm gonna put in there Jack's mom. All right. We'll talk to you later. We'll see
ya. Bye.
Y'all think I'm kidding. I'm about to put Erin's number in my phone. Jack's mom. Hoo-wee. Thanks for joining Dad with a Phone. I was supposed to be done in 35 minutes ago. Go make some noise. Go share something. Go wake someone up. Go like and follow Dad with a Phone. Throw some money in the hat. Move along your business, but yell and scream Mindy's name. Scream it. Go places. I ain't answering no more calls. My phone's dying, peeps. Jeez Louise, I'm gonna get in trouble. Should I send it to voice? But what if this is a classic? What if it's a classic? You're live with Dad with a Phone.
Hi, Dad with a Phone.
You almost didn't get your phone call answered.
I know, but I just wanted to kind of give a suggestion real quick that for Miss Vicky. I noticed on the Facebook group page the other day, she was talking about that when this whole situation happened, that Kim worked as an employee at that high school where Mindy was found. And she was kind of inquiring as to how to maybe get the information to find out about the different staff members that work there, whether it be teachers or cafeteria workers or janitorial or whatever. Um, it kind of struck me. I was looking around trying to find maybe like a list of staff or whatever, but wasn't having too much luck. But I do know that the state has a list of all of the employees, whether it be um, the teachers, janitorial staff, or the cafeteria workers. They have to register with the state, and it is like a huge, big list of everybody who works for that school district, as well as it tells you what their salary is every year. So maybe that's one way that you might be able to find that information, or maybe check your local library for
Absolutely.
the 2009
10 yearbook.
2010 yearbook,
Yeah.
because I was trying to get the information from the yearbook thing, but I wasn't a student there and I'm not from there, so I have absolutely no idea how to.
Somebody watching right now, I guarantee you can get me a yearbook. I got yearbook photos of like Patrick, and people had yearbook photos of Patrick Frazee and different people. So, yeah, no, that's a good point. I could probably get my son. He goes to the library every other day. Just get him to go find me a library. See if the library's got yearbooks, and if they don't have yearbooks, we can find a yearbook from 2009, 2010, probably. And that may not give us every staff member, but it definitely will give us a big start for sure.
It'll give you a good fair amount of the staff members that were on for that year, because one thing I was able to find was it was like 46 or 47 staff members that were employed that year. However, I just couldn't find the specific names of all of them.
Yeah, so I'll have somebody will get in contact with me, or I'll get a hold of somebody to get a yearbook. So that's a great idea.
Awesome. And then I have one other question for you.
What's up?
It might be strange or whatever, but when you were going through the autopsy pictures or the crime scene photo pictures of Mindy, was there any type of like a film on her body? Because I was reading that, you know, people who are usually found in like water or cold climates usually will have like this like film on their body. And I know that there is the idea that is, you know, been floated around that maybe Mindy's body was put into a freezer. You think maybe you can tell from those pictures if maybe you can see something like that, or from, you know, I don't know if you have the pictures from before she was defrosted, or you know what I mean? Kind of give you a clue.
Yeah, I'm pulling those up right now just to look at it.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't look like she has any sort of a film that's visible, you know. You know, she has it's kind of it's strange because she's you know, you could tell that something was up because her body is a little deformed, and even after it's thawed, it's like deformed. And she's in like a stainless tub, and so like you could tell that they left, you know, she was probably left there to thaw out and drained. But I don't see like a noticeable film or something. And even even before they took her clothes off, you know, I have real good close-ups of her legs and stuff, and I've shown some of these photos, but it doesn't look like there's a noticeable film on her at all.
I was thinking that if there was, like, if she had been kept in a freezer or the cold, I mean, there should be some sort of a noticeable film on her, even before they thawed her. There should be something there that indicates to that.
Yeah, I mean, now the pictures from the crime scene, I have. Let me look at that because I do have pictures when they just uncovered her before they even took her in. Um, these are
I mean,
these are tough to. These are just tough to
I
look
know.
at.
I know, and I hate it when like you have to look at him. Like we can't see what's on the screen, but when you look at him, it looks like your heart is breaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can just see the hurt in your eyes having to look at him. But I appreciate so much everything that you're doing to help make some noise for her, for Mindy, to try to get some justice for her and her mom.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, she had on these pictures. She has you know, she had a long sleeve shirt on. Some sort of. It's like a long sleeve V-neck low cut, like no, it's like a black sweater, but it's a low cut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a low neck sweater.
Yeah.
And then she had a bunch of jewelry rings on, like she had a bunch of gold rings on. But I don't see a film, but it again, you know, her face is discolorized from her from where the clothes are, which is weird because her face is a totally different color and it is deformed. Like there is some, and it looks like I haven't said this out loud, but in a picture that I have of her, it looks like she may have had some sort of like a broke nose. Like it looks like she's been hit, and so I know that Vicky had talked to me about this, and so this is something Vicky's talked about. They had to do some reconstructive surgery for the open casket. And so, and I understand why, because when I see the pictures, and I haven't really looked at them until a couple of days ago. I went through them and like looked at every photo over it and over. I noticed right away. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like she has like a broke nose. And so, again, she absolutely has something happened to her. Something happened to her, and there is some facial stuff that you can't deny. And again, I'm never going to show these photos, but you just have to either take my word for it or not. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. So
I will definitely take your word for it, because the look that comes across your face when you have to look at these things, if you literally you look like you're about to break when you look at it. And I swear I thought you were going to cry.
I've done plenty of crying. Don't you worry about that. I've done plenty of crying over this case and other ones. Yeah, I mean, it's when and that was the thing. Like when she went, Vicky called me and said, I'm going to get the autopsy photos. I was like, what? I don't know, whatever. She was like, no, I'm going to get them. We're going to meet you and give them to you. And she didn't even want them. And she had another copy that she had given to someone else, and I don't know if she couldn't get them from them. But so she went back up there just recently, and they gave her literally on that disc that they gave me, they gave her every photo. It says all crime scene photos, all case photos, including autopsy. And so when I got them, yeah, I called another person and I called someone else, another creator, and was like, you are not going to believe what can I show, what can I not show, what am I going to get in trouble for, you know? And so, no, that's the thing is like, but that's why with Erin, when she was like, well, can we go talk to the DA, or can we go, maybe in time, that's when we drop that stuff on them, but we got to have something. We got to have something that connects it.
Something that's going to come out and bring it, like crack it wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, my uncle was a homicide and robbery detective for 45 years. And so, I mean, there's some crucial things that they're going to be looking for. And you have to tread lightly when you're finding things to reopen a case.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This will be like a reopening of a closed case. And Bobby said that earlier, is this isn't a cold case that's still open that they never solved. They just wrote hypothermia on this and closed it. They said she died. Yeah, and you know, and the guy, you've heard even the pathologist say that. He's like, I have to give cause of death, and normally I would give some sort of reasoning for death or like whatever. But in this one, it was just like, this is what they told me. This is where they found her. Boom. This is what happened.
Yeah.
This is how she,
And see, what kind of bothers me about it is when the medical examiner's recording, when he was telling Miss Vicky that they didn't even touch the body, that the CBI people had touched the body first. And it just, I don't think that that's true. I think maybe they messed with it before CBI got there. And did CBI ever get thoroughly involved in this?
There is,
did they kick it back to them?
Yeah, there is there is a recording where someone talks about there was a CBI officer involved because Vicky was trying to get the CBI's officer's name. And so I don't know if she ever got the name of the officer. There is some pictures that she sent me of some officers that were involved and different things. But again, I think the way that you can listen to the recordings and hear the way this thing was handled. She's sitting here telling them stuff and they're like, oh yeah. Yeah.
I've listened to all of these recordings 3 and 4 times, like over and over and over again.
And
I'm telling you, like, played it, stop, replayed it again, stop, replayed it again. And I've even went out of my way to kind of gather the extra podcasts that are out there just so that I could catch something that maybe I didn't catch before. Any part of information possible.
I know y'all be sucking this content down like freaking Oreo cookies.
Hey, listen, I've bogged down the Dad with the Phone group with content of different things. And I personally, I got the voicemail box for Nancy Grace. I called and left voicemails with Nancy Grace. I have been on Twitter trying to find out different podcasts for people who run true crime podcasts. I have been flooding messages out there. Tell Erin, Kristen said hi. This is Kristen.
You just told her.
Yeah. But I've been, flooding it out there because it's like, I can't believe how much has just been let go in this case. I couldn't imagine the pain and the hurt that Miss Vicky has to hold every single day, not just for herself and for her daughter, but for her grandchildren too. They all deserve justice. Mindy deserves that justice.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I've just been trying to find out everything. I've bogged down people's inboxes a lot.
Good.
So
That's
I'm
good to
still
hear.
bogging it down.
Jack's mom just said hello.
I see her. I got you on my big screen.
Oh,
so with my big screen set up, it's got the comments on the right hand side, and I see clearly what's going on.
Good.
But yeah, that was just some ideas that I wanted to throw out there. And then I had seen the comment that Miss Vicky had made about, the school thing. And I thought, well, I might not be able to find something, but somewhere somebody can find a yearbook or even get from the state's office. The state, the state of Colorado has to have that stuff on file because nobody can work in the school district without that information on file.
I bet you Sean Going's got that information on file.
I bet you he does.
He's like head of security, so he should have that. Maybe I should just go up there and see, hey, who was working? I need to find out who was working here in 2010.
Hey, listen, you could though, because it should be a matter of public information.
Yeah, that information.
To the high school and say, hey, listen, is there any way that I can get a complete and full staff list of all of your staff that worked here this year?
Yeah, I probably could. I'm gonna have to.
I bet you could.
I probably won't do it, but I'll get somebody in town to do it. I got some people that'll do it for me. Just because if I start doing it, people get all freaking out. They're like, whatever. But it's the same thing. Somebody will get it for me. So,
well, get that, and then we can start looking into that. You know what I mean? And just even if you got to split up the names and people kind of got to sleuth
on different names, split it up into okay, this person gets this many names, this person takes this many names, and everybody just dig. You'd be surprised about how much everybody could find out if we're just digging all together.
Absolutely. You guys get after it. Hey, thanks for your call. My phone is about to die, and I hate for it to die on you.
You're good. Have a good night, and thank you for everything you do.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Good calls tonight. Hey, thanks for watching Dad with the Phone. I tried to close this show 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, an hour ago. You guys rock. Thanks for watching. I don't think there's anything else. There's nothing else. I'm out of here. We'll talk to you guys later. Oh, I don't want to end like that, though. I want to end with this.